Do you know which Chinese air-to-air missile has the longest range? Don't tell me you think the recently famous PL-15 is the farthest. That's far from the truth. Take a guess. What's the range of the air-to-air missile carried by our 5th Gen J-20? How far can it really go? There's no doubt, for a fighter jet, the longer the missile range, the bigger its safety zone. One missile fired, and the enemy hundreds of kilometers away is already terrified. They haven't even seen your jet clearly, and they're already getting a greeting gift. A fighter without air-to-air missiles is like a toothless tiger. It may look fierce, but in combat, it's useless. Today, let me walk you through China's top 5 longest-range air-to-air missiles. And trust me, PL-15 is only mid-tier. 5th place. Don't underestimate it. The PL-12 is a pioneer in ushering Chinese AAMs into the modern era. It was China's first indigenous, active radar-guided, band visual range air-to-air missile. When it debuted, PL-12 thrilled Chinese pilots. At last, we could retire outdated Soviet stock. No more relying on second-hand gear. PL-12 entered service in the mid-2000s, giving our Air Force true fear-and-forget capability. No need to get close and dogfight anymore. The earliest PL-12 version had a range of 70 kilometers, on par with the early AIM-120 in Russia's R-77. But we didn't stop there. Continuous upgrades in propulsion and electronics have pushed the latest variants to over 100 kilometers in range. Comrades, a jump from 70 to 100 kilometers is no small feat. That's a more than 50 increase in range. In aerial combat, every extra kilometer can mean the difference between chasing or being chased. You don't want to be on the wrong end. The PL-12 uses active radar homing, enabling true BVR fear-and-forget attacks. Once fired, it turns on its own radar and hunts targets autonomously. The pilot can disengage or find a new target. No time wasted. It's also equipped with a two-way data link, allowing real-time comms between the missile and launch platform. It can even receive mid-course corrections to improve hit probability. And its agility is solid too. Max speed around Mach 4. Tolerates 30-40 G turns with ease. Even maneuvering targets aren't safe. 4th place, PL-15. Now it's time for the PL-15 to shine. Let's give it a round of applause. This long-range killer from the PLAAF was a game-changer upon reveal. It was hailed as a game-changer. If the PL-12 gave us competitive medium-range ability, then the PL-15 let us overtake the West in long-range combat. It truly flipped the script. Even the U.S. military was caught off guard. A former senior U.S. Air Force officer admitted, "The emergence of the PL-15 threatens the air superiority of the F-22 and F-35. So just how powerful is the PL-15? Let's take a closer look. Industry estimates suggest the domestic version of the PL-15 has a range over 200 kilometers. Some reports even claim that under ideal high-altitude, high-speed conditions, it could reach up to 300 kilometers. That figure is staggering, approaching the capabilities of some small ballistic missiles. Even using the conservative estimate of 200 kilometers, it still outperforms America's top AIM-120D about 160 kilometers. In Europe's Meteor missile around 150 kilometers. Even the downgraded export variant, the PL-15E, with its 145 kilometers range, surpasses the US and French missiles used by the Indian Air Force. So in terms of range alone, the PL-15 absolutely dominates. For the first time, the West's 30-year lead in long-range aerial combat has been seriously challenged. So what other strengths does the PL-15 have? Let's take a closer look. In terms of countermeasures, thanks to its onboard miniaturized ESA radar, the PL-15 can follow commands in flight, constantly correcting its trajectory. Near the terminal phase, it activates radar to lock targets. Even if enemy aircraft deploy jamming or decoys, the PL-15 Smart Seeker is hard to fool. According to reports, India spent $300 million upgrading electronic jamming pods, but they still failed to jam the PL-15. That's a very intimidating capability. To paint a picture, the PL-15 is like a seasoned hunter, sharp-eared and keen-eyed, quick on the move and hard to deceive with tricks, and always lands a kill shot. What made the PL-15 truly famous was its recent combat debut during the May 2025 India-Pakistan air clash. Reports claim that a Pakistani Air Force J-10C launched a PL-15 missile in a blind shot from 160 kilometers out and down an Indian Rafale jet. Keep in mind, at 160 kilometers range, targets are invisible to the naked eye. The strike relied entirely on AWACS guidance and data link corrections. Yet the kill was successful. Reportedly, in that engagement, the PL-15 achieved a perfect 5 for 5 kill record. Regardless of authenticity, Pakistan certainly had a moment of glory. It was a brilliant strike, a battle that made the missile legendary. It silenced the critics who said Chinese weapons lack real combat experience. Third place. To be honest, including this one in the list feels a bit speculative. It's still shrouded in mystery for now. The PL-21 is said to be China's next-gen ultra-long-range air-to-air missile. Why so mysterious? Because official sources have revealed almost nothing about it. Everything we know is pieced together from leaks and speculation. Yet the rumors are explosive, enough to get your blood pumping. Online sources say the PL-21's max range is around 300 kilometers. That's already an impressive figure. To illustrate, a fighter jet flying over Beijing could, in theory, strike aerial targets near the Hebei-Shandong border. That's nearly halfway across northern China. It's said that the PL-21 was initially modeled after Europe's Meteor missile concept, meaning it would use a ramjet engine. This would enable sustained propulsion during flight. The advantage of ramjets is long range and high sustained speed in mid-course flight. But the downside is the need for air intakes. So the missile must have intake ducts in its design. However, later leaked images online showed China's ultra-long-range missile, suspected to be PL-21, had a clean body, no large control fins, and no visible intakes. What does this suggest? It suggests that it doesn't use a ramjet engine, but likely a solid propellant rocket motor instead, albeit with more advanced technology. It might, for example, employ a next-gen high-thrust, dual-pulse solid rocket motor. This also explains why some people confused it with the earlier PL-17. They originally thought the PL-21 would be ramjet-powered, but tests ended up being for a rocket-powered variant. In short, we still don't know exactly what advanced propulsion tech the PL-21 employs. As for the Seeker head, since the PL-15 already features an ESA radar, the newer PL-21 certainly won't be a downgrade. It's likely to retain active radar homing and may even incorporate passive intercomposite guidance to improve terminal phase interception against high-value targets. Its operational role is primarily to target high-value enemy aerial assets, such as AWACS, electronic warfare aircraft, and tankers. It's worth noting, there are rumors that the PL-21 is being designed with future 6th-generation fighter platforms in mind. Second place, PL-17. If the PL-15 made the West nervous, and the PL-21 sparked wild speculation, then the PL-17 is the revealed trump card already in play. Upon debut, it was dubbed a wax nightmare, one of the longest-range air-to-air missiles in active service worldwide. Even without exaggeration, its range alone commands awe. It's widely believed the PL-17 has an effective range over 400 kilometers. Some experts estimate a range between 300 to 500 kilometers. Split the difference. It's about 400 kilometers. Recently, even more jaw-dropping reports emerged. PL-17 can reach 500 kilometers against fast fighter targets, and up to 1,000 kilometers against large, slow targets like AWACS or tankers. The 1,000 kilometers claim stunned the internet. A 1,000 kilometers AAM, that's practically intercontinental pursuit. Though the 1,000 kilometers figure sound wild. 400 kilometers is already a confirmed reality that already far surpasses the US AIM-120D and even the in development AIM-260. It also eclipses Russia's R-37, which claims a 300 kilometers range. In short, the PL-17 has redefined the engagement envelope of modern air combat. Reportedly, the first batch of PL-17s entered service in 2022, equipping J-16 and J-20 fighters. In the future, it may also be deployed on advanced versions of the Su-35. As a strategic asset, the PL-17's mission is clear: to eliminate high-value aerial support platforms operating in rear areas, those that coordinate and support from behind the front lines, such as large tankers, AWACS, and electronic warfare aircraft. These targets are typically large and not very agile, but they fly at high altitudes and cover wide areas. Examples include large aerial refueling tankers, AWACS, and electronic warfare aircraft. These targets are typically large in size and lack maneuverability, but they fly at high altitudes and have wide area surveillance coverage. They serve as the command centers of the enemy's airborne operations. If one can neutralize AWACS, or airborne command posts, from long range, it would deliver a crippling blow to enemy airpower capabilities. However, striking these rearguard aerial command centers has traditionally been difficult since they usually operate hundreds of kilometers behind the front lines. Conventional air-to-air missiles simply can't reach them. This is precisely why the PL-17, an ultra-long-range air-to-air missile, was developed. First place, hypersonic air-to-air missile. At last, we've reached the top of the list. This missile is shrouded in secrecy. It remains highly classified as of now, and even its designation is still unknown. This missile has been subject to intense speculation. According to foreign media reports, its maximum range could reach approximately 500 kilometers, and there are rumors that with advanced hypersonic propulsion, its range may even approach 1,000 kilometers. What does 500 kilometers mean in practice? Roughly the distance from Beijing to Wuhan, or enough to engage targets over the South China Sea from Hainan airspace. If such a missile truly exists, it would rival even medium-range ballistic missiles. The hypersonic air-to-air missile is said to integrate numerous cutting-edge technologies. First, it likely adopts hypersonic glide vehicle HGV technology. A cruising speed above Mach 9 is considered a conservative estimate. At that velocity, even distant targets could be engaged within minutes. In addition, it likely possesses mid-course maneuvering capability, unlike traditional missiles that follow fixed trajectories. This makes interception and evasion much harder. What's even more astonishing is, this hypersonic air-to-air missile is believed to feature a dual-mode composite seeker. It is also believed to be equipped with a large active phased array radar and an infrared imaging sensor. This means that, even if enemy aircraft deploy flares or electronic jamming to deceive the missile, the hypersonic air-to-air missile can rely on both radar and infrared signatures to identify the true target. It will relentlessly pursue its prey. Moreover, the missile may also integrate next-generation high-speed communications and processors, enabling a degree of autonomous decision-making and target recognition. In short, the hypersonic air-to-air missile integrates virtually every advanced technology conceivable for such weapons. Its aim is to define the future paradigm of air combat. As for its development status, Little is publicly known, but sources indicate that the missile has already entered a low-rate initial production phase. In other words, prototype missiles are likely already being manufactured and tested. If true, development is proceeding at lightning speed. After all, the PL-17 just recently made its debut, and the hypersonic missile is already racing onto the stage. Western media have gone so far as to call the hypersonic air-to-air missile the most dangerous air-to-air missile in the world. Alright, that concludes the ranking of China's 5 longest-range air-to-air missiles. Feeling amazed after watching? The next time you hear the legend of the PL-15, don't forget, even more powerful missiles are waiting in the wings.